Hi. My story is also about trees. It's about community activism as well, and it actually has a good ending. Story's about me, but it's also about my block, which is East 6th. And I live on East 6th between Commercial and Victoria. And I moved here just, well, it's a little under 2 years ago. And I want you to picture the house that I bought. It's two sides of a duplex. It's like two Vancouver specials sandwiched together. The doors face to the side. Because there's no alley in that part of 6th, you've got garages in the front and a parking pad out front. And I have to say my house still needs some TLC on the outside. But what kind of saved it for me was a huge elm, which I later learned was a Siberian elm, right out in front of my house. So this summer and all through into the fall and even into the winter, the whole front window of my house was filled with greenery. And it was just delightful. Imagine my surprise in March of 2011 when I came downstairs and found a little note, and it really was a note, from the park board saying they were going to cut that tree down. And I was shocked, and I called 311 and called the city and wanted to know, could I find out more information, what was happening, was there anywhere I could register, I guess, a complaint. And the city workers who I spoke to tried to be helpful. They weren't really able to tell me much. What happened was I then went back online and I found a story already on Open File and also a Facebook page that one of my neighbors had already created. And it gave me a resource to find out more. What I found out was it wasn't just my tree, it was, yeah, my tree. It wasn't just the tree in front of my house. It was 31 trees out of 130 trees that run all the way up 6th for blocks. It was that these trees were Siberian elms forming a canopy every summer over the street, and they were over 70 years old. It was also finding out that many of the people that were becoming active to say, no, we can't just willy-nilly take the trees down, were living on my block. So this was the way that my house and Grandview-Woodland really became a home in Grandview-Woodland because, like a lot of people, I didn't know a lot about my neighbors, and I'd been recovering from a car accident, so I hadn't really got out, and this was my opportunity to get out and to meet people. So it also was an opportunity to work with a group of people that I've never seen come together so quickly. That Facebook page had 700 likes in the first week that it was up. There were blogs, there was a group of a Google Mail that went around for those who wanted to sign up. And there was some, to me, creative ways of reaching out, not just through social media, but reaching out to traditional media, the Sun, the Globe and Mail, the Courier, CTV, CBC, all picked up those stories. But there was also something creative that one of my neighbors did, which was to walk up to and tie a ribbon around and poster every one of those trees that was scheduled to come down, saying why these were so important. One of the reasons that elms are really important is they're a great street tree, and they take the best care of overflow water that therefore doesn't rush into your overloaded Vancouver storm drain, and plus they're beautiful. So one of the things that it introduced me to in Grandview-Woodland is the way that people work together to create a process. I found that working with this group and working through the disagreements that we had was almost as important as defining what our points were, which was to save the elms, to save the canopy, to project out into future planning so that you could continue this and not just in 1 year, and to have better communication with the city and the park board. And as it happened, all of those things worked out. We had a number of meetings, a number of walkthroughs. The city stood up and brought in a second arborist for a second opinion. They worked with a group from a core number of my neighbors who worked for a year to come up with the replanting, pruning, plans for future planting. As these trees are old, eventually they will have to be culled. What happened was only 6 of those 31 trees ended up being cut down, so 25 were saved, which is really great. And probably what's equally important is there's now a template in place to work with heritage trees in Vancouver for all the other streets, many of which are in Grandview-Woodland, that have heritage trees in them. And one of the things that, that did also happen is these elms were chosen as one of the 125 places that matter in Vancouver. And those sites are marked with a plaque. So I'd just like to let you know what that plaque says. This unique Siberian elm canopy lining East 6th Avenue from Woodland Drive to Nanaimo Street is managed by an innovative long-term plan developed in a collaborative effort between the Park Board and East 6th Avenue residents. With a focus on preservation and restoration, this historic treescape will be maintained for future generations as part of a safe, healthy urban forest. And yeah, it's pretty great. And the last thing I just want to leave you with is we had a really great block party when the first elm was planted just a couple of months ago. So thank you for listening to my story.